As we all hope for a full recovery from Damar Hamlin, I'm joined now for a perspective on the latest news by Dr. Ali Nsair, the Director of Sports Cardiology at UCLA. Now, Dr. Nsair, when you hear the news from today that there has been remarkable progress from Hamlin, he appears to be neurologically intact and he even has opened his eyes and has been awake. What is your initial reaction to that? From, it's great news to me hearing it, but from a professional perspective, your initial reaction?
Well, thank you for having me today. And it's terrific news all around. I think this is great news for him, of course, for his family and loved ones, for the Buffalo Bill organization, and for all the fans that were there and watching and praying for him. From a professional standpoint, this is great news because it shows that the protocols followed have saved his life. He received immediate CPR and the medical care he needed to get through this. And the team has done a great job at the University of Cincinnati. And we just heard the report from his doctors early on online that he's responsive neurologically. So everything that should have been done has been done, and this is why we strongly encourage everyone to learn CPR, because CPR can save lives, and we're hoping for a full recovery for Damar.
Yeah, it's certainly a lesson I've taken from it. They're definitely going to get some classes for myself. So I guess let's take a step backwards really quickly before we take a step forwards. It seems to me, as a just an observer here, that it is that initial response of the CPR and the oxygen. I guess he got that essentially saved his life.
Yeah, from what we're hearing, again, we won't know for sure until the medical reports, if they ever come out, exactly what happened. But he did receive immediate CPR. The sports medics and the team did the great job. It's also reported that he got an AED, which is an automatic defibrillator that shocks heart out of an irregular rhythm. That's what the case was, and oxygen. And I mean, the protocols were followed to the T, and that's why we're excited to see that he's making a neurologic recovery, because the major concern is brain damage in these scenarios, but sounds like we're seeing a neurologic recovery, and that's terrific news. So it's a credit to the medical staff that took great care of him.
Now, I'm sure there's still, a long road ahead for him, but what does recovery look like in circumstances like this?
Great question. It varies. It's hard to put a timeline on his recovery. I think the most important thing that his brain is intact. We're seeing more signs of neurologic recovery. His lungs are getting better. He's still on the breathing machine. It's yet to be determined what exactly was the cause from a cardiac standpoint, if that was the primary cause of why he passed out and went to cardiac arrest. He's got a long way ahead of him to go. But the early signs in the first 40 hours are very encouraging, most importantly, the neurologic sign. From what we heard from the press conference, he's got a team of neurocritical doctors, cardiologists looking into what happened and taking care of him. So it depends really what the initial cause was of why he went into cardiac arrest. But it's very hopeful, and it's very reassuring, the signs of recovery that is being reported as of this afternoon.
And that's the kind of thing that if all things trend in the correct direction, he could go back to living a normal life.
Yeah, that's exactly a great point you make. Our job is to make sure when these events happen, we do the best we can for first the patient to be safe, and for any underlying causes to be treated and dealt with. And most importantly, we want patients, and especially professional athletes, to go back to a full career if it's safe for them to do. So I'm sure that's the focus, and that would be the focus of getting him fully recovered and hopefully back on the field playing for the Bills.
So you think it's a possibility he could be playing in the NFL again?
Well, it's a possibility. We're hoping he continues to recover. Again, it all depends. We don't want to make any predictions. It all depends what the underlying cause was. But every sports cardiologist would tell you that we want to make sure the patient and the athlete is safe, but ultimately for them to be back on the field playing the sport that they grew up playing and loving, and that should be the goal once he's out of this acute phase.